Hi, this is Victor Lund from the WAV Group. We are continuing our series of talking to leaders across the real estate industry that are doing great innovations in AI. And one of those leaders is Brad Bjelke, and he's the Chief Executive Officer of Utah Real Estate. Hi, Brad, how are you?
Hey Victor, thanks for having me. It's good to see you and talk about some exciting stuff here.
So, you and I had a chance to chat recently at the RIS Media CEO Summit about AI and what you guys are doing in AI. And I think that you're a leader in the industry, and I believe you'll be the first MLS in America to deliver a production-ready system. So, before we go into that, though, Utah Real Estate is a very unique multiple listing service. Can you tell us a little bit about like the market that you serve? I know it's in your name, but let's be clear.
Yeah.
But the market that you serve and just like how many people you're serving and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we are, a long time ago when when our owners kind of formulated this regional MLS, and I've been the CEO now for over 10 years. They put together they had a great idea. They said, you know what, let's not have fractured MLSs across the state. Let's get the three biggest regions together and put together a regional MLS. And they did that back in honestly back in 1994 was when the company started and started the process. And then there was a lot of foresight probably about 15 years ago to change the name to utahrealestate.com, kind of get the MLS word out while we're still a multiple listing service. You have Major League Soccer, you have other things that sort of get in the way sometimes of search engine optimization. With the words MLS, so they created the domain name and the company name, and it was amazing and got the marketing out. And I think last month we serviced about 600,000 unique visitors to the public on utahrealestate.com, and we're probably top 10 real estate website that's out there for consumer portal searching just in our small region over here. And we do a fantastic job. I think we had 27 million views on our site last year. So just it's consistently growing. It has allowed us to innovate in technology, and one of the interesting things about us, there's probably about five MLSs across the country that do this, but we do have our own technology department. We write our own technology. We own our own technology. Our owners, that was very important for them to have sovereign technology when they created us, and so we do a great job of being able to respond to our market with things that they need really quickly, and also, do a lot of R&D and push the envelope on what is possible for development. We service most of Utah, so I think the last time we looked, we're at 97% of the realtors in Utah are using our system. We have listings everywhere. We branch into southern Idaho, a little bit into Colorado, Nevada, and have really just sort of expanded. When I got here, we had about 9,000 members, and we're servicing about 20,000 now.
Whew. Well, congratulations on that growth. It's impressive. Um, yeah, I think the Utah real estate is highly regarded for not only managing the development of their own MLS system, but also that front end that gives consumers access to it through utahrealestate.com certainly positions you in a very unique place in real estate technology, but also in delivering services that really are owned by your entity and not just vended out to other companies. So, um, tell me about your AI journey. When did you guys start looking at AI? How did you first anticipate the need for AI among your brokers and agents? And let's just start there.
I would say it's probably been about a 3 to 4 year journey for us, and we started out by just kind of watching what the world is doing. And the one thing that I love shiny objects, I love new things, but I also know that some things are just a little bit they're gimmicky. And sometimes if you're playing too much with gimmicky technology, your users see that, they don't adopt it, and it doesn't resonate with them. And so what I've been doing is playing with gimmicky technology and having my developers play with it and trying to find things that we know will solve problems, pain points, efficiency issues, and say, can we take some of this cool stuff and layer it on top of our both our MLS and our public site to make us better? And we started with photos. I think that was kind of you saw that about 3 or 4 years ago. People started playing with photos. And we took it one step further. Not only do we tag photos and label them for our members, but we also organize them into not into a quasi floor plan. So you can actually, by helping us with the AI and saying this room is on floor one, we can kind of scope out the property. And that's been a big hit with our members and the consumers on our site because not only are they seeing the rooms labeled, tagged, searchable, but they're also saying, okay, this room's in the basement. In the past, you'd have to guess, right? You're trying to look out a window and say, is this below ground? Is it above ground? And so we've taken that now and been able to extrapolate on it. So we started with photos, then we moved to customer support, and we said, what kind of a chat bot type thing can we implement, build ourselves, and use? And we got that released earlier this year. And I think our last metric, which was July, the chatbot was answering 89% of all chats completely independently, efficiently, without any need for follow-up. And so that was a huge learning experience for us, is that we can process more member communications, more member questions through our chat than ever before, 24 hours a day. That cuts costs on labor, but also still gives a good experience to the member. We survey after those are over, and those have all been, very, very positive. And so I think the world's used to that. I think the world's getting used to, chatting with a Delta bot when they're looking for flights. And as that technology learns and gets better, people become more comfortable with it and then expect it. And so what I always say at my company is we don't want to be in a place where people expect it and we don't have it. We want to have it before it's expected. And so that's what we're striving for.
So in your marketplace, have you observed how AI has been accessing real estate listings? Like, do you go onto ChatGPT or Claude or any of these other sites and say, well, if I ask a question about Utah real estate, what happens? Where are they sourcing the information?
It's that's a fantastic question, and if you do some searches and search for a property address or information about properties, and you look at who the attribution is, it's not us usually. Every once in a while, we come up in that. It's other big companies, or what's really strange is some very small companies that we've never even heard of, and part of that is probably our own doing. We have a lot of security on our site. We have a lot of what we call chat repellents, like bot repellents. And a lot of the bots that we're seeing now are AI bots. And we block a lot of them, and we purposely block them because we don't want our information scraped. However, you're battling with the sites that are allowing their sites to be scraped and come up in those chat GPT searches. So this is an interesting problem. I'm not sure how we're going to solve it. We want to be the source, but we also don't want to be the source via a way that's against the copyright or against or via scraping. So it's very interesting. All the listeners to this show, I think you should search for a property in your area and see who the sources are. It will surprise you where that information comes from.
It was a real significant driver for our firm to shine a bright light on the demand for an MCP server. So for those of you who don't, I don't want to use technical terms that lose the audience, but MCP stands for Model Context Protocol, and it is the most popular way that AI can access live databases. And it's also the best way that you can do what's called agentic AI, meaning you can not only access information, but then you can take that information and you can format it or email it or do something else with it by calling another application to do it. So they call it agent to agent, and they're talking about AI agents, like get this and do this and then do that and then do this. And it's business automation using agentic AI, and it's pretty complex. But if the MLS doesn't provide an MCP server, then anybody who wants to do that kind of work, whether they're a broker or an agent or a team, they're going to have to replicate the data and reformat it so that they can make these actions and accelerate their technology. So we believe that it's really important that MLSs like yours have plans today for AI and develop tools that keep the MLS in the center of how AI is going to be adopted by professionals in our industry. And so you guys are way ahead of everybody. Do you want to just kind of show a little bit about what you've developed so far and what it's going to take to button this up to make it production ready?
Yeah, and I just want to say one thing. You wrote an article, it was probably a month or two ago, and this is how we first got in touch again, was about an MCP server, right? And we were already playing with them, had been playing with it for a while, and what I wanted to do is reach out to you and let you know you're on the right, you were right in the right path. That's where everybody needs to go. They should be playing in that sandbox. And that's a testament to you and your consulting company being out in front because you're way out in front on this. And there are lots of other large language models and ways of doing things that are people are dabbling in. But I don't believe that's going to win the race, right? That you're going to have ability to offer AI, but it may not scale the way that you just mentioned, right? When a broker wants to come in and touch our AI and use it for something on their side, it's not going to work unless you have an MCP server and an API that will allow the data to be pulled. And so building right now the right way, and granted, it'll change. Everything always changes, right? The standards change and the best technology changes. But if you don't do it right early on, you're gonna suffer some setbacks. So I thought I just wanted to reach out to you and let you know you hit it out of the ballpark and we're doing a great job. And our public site too. I didn't even say this to you, but we had WAV Group look at our public site about six years ago, and that really led us to study where we were at in the market and how successful our site really was, and that allowed us to grow almost by 50%, by just saying, "Hey, we're really not this little small company. We're much bigger." And so we've been able to kind of work off what you've been doing and make some big improvements. So thank you for that. And yes, I would love to show you the AI. So just a simple one.
Yeah, we'll pull it up. The
Okay.
and thank you for the kind comments. Marilyn my co-founder and partner, she has understood the value of MLS consumer facing websites forever, and has been studying the leaders in our industry forever. And what you guys do is nothing short of sensational and delivers business value to your customers every day. And you said something earlier about sovereign technology, the fact that you own this tech, that you own this experience on behalf of your brokers and agents and teams, I think is so material to this. We work pretty closely with Dan Troop and the team at the Broker Public Portal who are trying to take the center of excellence that you've created in Utah and create a national footprint for MLS consumer search. And it's definitely something that's needed in our industry. And visionaries are understanding that that the MLS should provide a high quality safe search solution for customers that don't become a lead and get diverted or get pimped out or whatever. So it's really great what you guys are doing, and you stand on some pretty tall shoulders who were there before you, but your work has been excellent, and it's exciting to see. So let's show us what you're doing.
Yeah, so this is our public site, and you're seeing production data just not turned on to the public yet. This will go on sometime in the next 15 to 30 days. And the only reason is we're just kind of playing with it internally. But what we've tried to do is make the experience very easy. And so the hard stuff's already been done. That's attaching your database to a large language model. And as anybody on this call knows, the MLS is a complicated database, right? It has, thousands of fields, thousands of options under some of these fields. And it can feel like a daunting task sometimes to say, how can I organize all this and have something search it? And so we started off by saying, hey, what if we just did something really small? And what if you just said, hey, I want to see the properties in X city? And so we started with that and got great results. And then we said, can we add in bedrooms and bath? Yes, we can add in bedrooms and bathrooms, which then turned into it didn't become that hard once we got familiar with the technology to add in 500 to 1,000 fields and make it as robust. But it was a process, and it did take us, 3 to 4 months to figure that out. But I will say the speed of getting a large language model up, if you control your own database, is actually very easy. It's really how you work with it afterwards that is the complexity. So
Yeah, I know
what we did,
David,
what we did
David,
was
David,
that.
David Gumper on our team. did he created an MCP server with a basic interface in 4 days.
Exactly.
Now,
And
that's not a production ready product, but it's an AI ready product. Like
yeah.
you're working, like you get to see the power of what you've developed after 4 days of development. Obviously, you need security, you need guardrails. There's many other things that you have to do to make it production ready. But in terms of like getting your data organized and making it available to AI, that's not a heavy lift.
Yep. And voice searching is useful for some things. It may not be useful for others. Is it gimmicky? Is it not gimmicky? We're not sure. We don't know where people will go with it and how much they'll use it. However, what we know is what we built behind it and what I'll say is it can function as a chatbot too. It doesn't have to function as a voice search. It can function as just I want to type it in or voice text a query. I'm going to show you today sort of the voice part because that's the level past the typing. But what we want to do is make the experience really easy, really simple, make the voice capture really accurate, and make it so that the user knows exactly what they're submitting for a query. And I think there's some people doing it in this world that haven't got there yet. I think we're there, and so here I'm just going to show you, and hopefully the lag doesn't on the Zoom doesn't cause an issue. But here's how you work. You'd be on the main page where you could do a normal, what I would call portal search of typing in a city, address, zip, whatever. But if you wanted to, you can activate the voice, and I'll do this here and just do real simple. Show me all the homes in Sandy, Utah that are over $800,000. So really simple query that will just hit our production database with all of the information. And if you can see at the top, it recognized the price right off the bat, recognized the city, and gave me my results on the left, or I can drill down on the right. So very simple, very fast. If I go back out and I want to change it, I'll do one more just for fun. Um,
So
oh,
effectively, I'm sorry,
no, you're okay.
I messed up your search,
Look,
but
it's okay. Look, it's taking our wording, which shows you how effective it can be, right?
so the AI is really replacing what I call a filter-based search.
Yeah,
So it allows you to speak to the AI and it understands what you're saying and is able to go and find those search criteria filters to give you the result that you want.
yeah. So I'll do one real quick, just a little bit more. Show me all the homes in South Jordan, Utah, with four or more bedrooms, three-car garage. Strike that. I'm looking for three plus bedrooms actually, and over 600,000 in price. And if you can see, even it actually, I started off with four bedrooms and it knew when I said strike that three bedrooms, it actually reverted the filter to three bedrooms, captured the price, captured the city, as you can see right here, and gives me the return information that I want. We can utilize that for any of the fields in the MLS or on the public site. And so it is extremely robust, extremely fast, extremely accurate. It's listening to you, right? It's a AI machine. So if you change your search query midway, it knows to change the parameters, right? It's listening to you. And where we intend to take that is directly into the MLS, into our map searching on the MLS for our members, which will provide a similar experience to this, but will give you the reporting as an agent that you need, and that gives you a much more robust reporting platform. And so yeah, I mean that's really the bulk of it. I could do it 100 times, and you probably think it's fun and it's awesome. You can do it from your phone. You can do it wherever you're at. It's extremely accurate, and we can't really defeat it. That's what we're kind of doing right now in testing is trying to poke holes in it, and we are not finding any holes, which means the release date keeps moving up.
Okay, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Yeah,
Do a new search and look for crack houses.
I don't think that would work.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I ask is that
Yeah, we
notice that
wouldn't allow the
some
word crack house in our MLS, by the way.
yeah, well, let's just see what it does. It's one of the it was one of the early bugs that we found is and maybe you haven't done this yet, but you definitely need to train the AI on HUD violation type words,
For sure.
things
It
that like you definitely don't want your AI to allow people to do redlining and like show me homes in, some community group neighborhood, Um,
Yeah, what we did with that is we won't allow those terms to be searched. That's really what we did is that we're not gonna return results that are possibly not compliant with state, federal, and local rules. Inside the MLS, we're allowing a more robust search of what we call the remark sections, which are available only to members, which helps, I think, the member look for things like let me know if any homes are available for showing today, right? There's an open house today, so they can go deeper into the fields that the MLS has, which I think for our members gives them a really good experience, especially if they're on the fly in their car. They don't want to utilize the robust, what we call traditional searching of the MLS, and they just want to speak a few things and get quick results. And I think that's where the big wins are going to be, is in that mobile environment for our members. I think the consumers, we're going to watch it closely. How many people actually click on the microphone? How many searches are effectuated? How many listings are looked at once they do that? Do they then move from this page back to the home page and do a traditional search? We're going to monitor all that. We're going to track all that because that for us, that's what's important for us to know what the consumer behavior is in addition to the member behavior on the other side.
yeah, I mean, it's the future's bright for this stuff. I mean, certainly even for somebody who's not a registered user to the site, the technology is evolving so much that if somebody's, accessing Utah real estate on their mobile device and they've been there before, you can actually remember who they were and
Yeah.
start, like I'm seeing this happen with some of the major portals today. So I don't even sign in. I do a search on their site without signing in, and then suddenly they're emailing me new listings that match my search criteria for that area. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and we have a little side business. We've actually built a website for another MLS, and we'll be able to layer the same technology onto that for them. And like I said, I think the future is bright. I think we're going to learn quickly what people use, what people like, and then we can take that and refine. But I have some very grand, big ideas for what we're going to do inside the MLS with statistics and listing input and all the other things that we can revolutionize for efficiency. And we're already hard at work on that in the development phase, but nothing to show yet.
Yeah, I've been spending a lot of time with tier one LLMs, just having conversations
Yep.
and just talking to ChatGPT and having them pull up information and then discussing it with the language model. And watching it continually refine and incorporate the idea and discuss it with you and even offer suggestions about how you might want to look at things a little differently has been really inspiring for me because, I think that I see first what a lot of people see later, but it turns out the AI has pretty much seen the future.
Oh, for sure. And I think like I said, you have to, we have to be thinking about it all the time. I told somebody once, I said, we're graduating from old technology, right? I said, you go to graduation, what's it called? It's called the commencement speech, commencement exercise, right? Your commencement ceremony. This is the beginning. We're in the beginning of the AI. It's already here, but it's the beginning of what I call companies making billions of dollars off of it. The gimmicks, some of them will turn into real things and become part of our daily lives, and some of them will fail, right? Every time there's a new era, a new set of technologies, I anticipate what does a database look like in 2 years? We may not be using SQL. We may not be using certain Linux products. Like it could be completely revolutionized, and you have to be open to it and ready to jump because if you don't, you'll get lapped. And that's what we don't want to do at Utah Real Estate. We don't want to be lapped. We're ready to compete and have the best product we can out there for our members and make sure that as the years creep on, we're on the cutting edge and not scrambling.
Are your developers excited about leveraging the code writing capabilities of AI to just multiply their ability to create new features and functionality?
Yeah, I think it's like tools, it's a candy, it's like being in a candy store with a kid, right? Like there's just all these new tools that are available to you and new opportunities and people that are inquisitive and like to create, this is like the best thing ever, right? But it's also overwhelming because we meet every couple of weeks to talk about like where we're going, what we're doing, what are the proof of concepts we're doing, and then there's already 10 new tools that we can utilize because people are just it's so rapid and that's the scary part is that you when you're a mature company and you're building products that have to work for 20,000 people, you can't just jump around all the time. You've got to pick something like the MCP. Like we know that's going to be the future for at least a few years, so we can hold on to that. But some of these other tools, they may come and go very fast, and that's just technology, and you have to pivot.
So talk to me a little bit about how you're managing access. Like, well, obviously on the consumer side, it's anybody can go to it, but how are you applying security best practices to make sure that you have a robust, safe solution?
Yeah, I mean it's too complex to talk about, but I'll just say this: we utilize we're a big customer of Amazon Web Services. We utilize their what's called a WAF. It's like the firewall that sits on front. There's the configuration tools that are now available to companies like us to ensure that it's real people and not scrapers. For instance, like we have people don't even know this, but we have a reCAPTCHA that will prompt you if you act too fast inside the system. So as a member, if you're hitting the buttons too quick, it's going to prompt you and say, "Are you a human? Pick out the four motorcycles," right? And every once in a while, we'll have a member call in, and we go, "What were you doing to trigger that?" Right? Because we tune it like a vehicle, right? It's finely tuned, but we also have that on the public site, and so that is working 24/7 and we get alerts, we see things all the time, and that firewall setting, we also have CloudFront, which is another AWS product behind that. It's just layer after layer. There's basically three layers of security to try to prevent all that from happening, and it's a cat and mouse game. You know nobody's perfect. You can't win all the time, but as long as you're constantly fine tuning, you do a pretty good job.
You call it cat and mouse, I call it
Yeah,
whack-a-mole.
it's
Remember
rough.
that?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
I
there was
love
a point where we turned off our site in 19 countries. We literally,
Yeah,
if you were in those countries, you could not visit our URL because it was just there was too much weird traffic trying to get through.
we do the same thing for RE technology. Even WAV Group, I just got a ask commit notification. Very few people are courageous enough to leave comments on Wave Group posts. I don't know. Like, I think we appeal mostly to executives, and they're just not openly chatty about topics. They'd rather have a dialogue or a conversation in person than write an opinion as a comment on a blog post. But we had, yeah, on the 9th of this month, we ellipsed our 10,000 ask commit challenges. So that much bot traffic to
Yeah,
just Wave Group, like a stupid consulting website. It's crazy out there.
yeah.
And I it's got to be really daunting to balance the the need to protect information, which is your chief goal. You stand on guard in front of the broker and agent data that you protect, and then you also need to enable it as well. So do you see a point, in 2025 or early 2026 where brokers in your market will be able to connect directly to your MCP servers to create workflows in their business around AI?
So, well, I guess what I would say is I'm trying not to anticipate anything, but I'm trying to anticipate having the ecosystem and the architecture to facilitate those types of things. So if you build it right, then you're not panicked about, hey, this is something new and our brokers want to use it. We don't want to be in a spot where like, okay, we can have that built for you in 2 years, right? We want to be flexible and ensure that what we're doing and what works for us and allows us to go in and touch data and use data can also work for other third parties. And really, this technology makes that really easy. I mean, we went from old tech, and then we have APIs, which is still modern, still being used everywhere, and now you have large language models using APIs, and it just continually gets easier. And it makes it easier to on what you want to expose, right? I mean, you can control the exposure of the data, which makes it easier for a vendor who wants to pull just three things. They want to touch three things, and so let's make those three things available and not 1,000 things.
Yeah. Well, you support other MLSs with different technology services.
Yep.
You guys have the capabilities of rapidly developing applications not only for yourself, but once you've built it, it's like if you're a buddy, I'll vend it to you and I'll support it for you. What are some of those products, and do you see AI as being maybe something you could do for other MLSs if they want to work with an MLS partner rather than an MLS vendor?
Yeah, I think we have the capabilities to do that. We'll show that soon on another website that I can talk about another time. But we have another product that we put together last year. It's called RE Data Export, and we put this product together to solve an internal problem, and that was we have lots of economists and universities and government agencies who want MLS data for all kinds of really noble purposes. They may be writing a dissertation on housing. They may want to just analyze what's affordable housing in the city or the zip code. And we have economists who want to do presentations on to the governor and to the state and to everyone else. And so what we did was we said, giving access to the MLS is not good. We don't want to provide access to someone who's a third party who's not entitled to, and doesn't need to see other types of data in the MLS. They're not sophisticated enough to build an API and host all the data and do all of that, but they want bulk data. And so we built a really simple product that allows an MLS to go in with an admin and configure, here's the fields, here's the dates, here's the things we want to share. And they can just export it in a CSV file, as simple as that, and give it to the economists and let them play with it and do the data that they want, the calculations they want to do. Give credit to the MLS. It gives another sort of opportunity for an MLS to tout their community involvement and the importance of the data and what they do to serve their communities. And it's been a win-win. So we used it for us, and we said we should probably spin this off and offer it to other MLSs. And so we launched our first MLS in Minnesota this year, and we have a pipeline of others that want to come on board. And that's just kind of the exciting part, is solving problems. And I think this goes back to AI in a weird way, is that good technology solves problems. It makes things more efficient. And when you have great technology that makes you more efficient, you use it. And so when we build something that we use and consume and we know it's good, we know others have the same needs.
Well, congratulations. We
Thanks.
uh we all know Tim Dane from North Star MLS. He's a demanding customer. So if you're if you're keeping him happy, that's great.
That's our goal.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much for
Thanks,
taking
Victor.
time to share what you guys are doing. We'll see you in Toronto at the Council of MLS meetings. I think there's a lot to talk about on the horizon, and we hope to have you back in the future to show your production site and
Yeah.
great job. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Victor. Appreciate it. Bye bye.